Hello, Mog here. So a few of you might have seen that I've been making things out of pewter lately, casting doodads and coins and the like. And a few people have asked, how do you do that then, Mog? Well, it's a bit like this. This intro's just bloody easy. Okay, right, piece of plastic, stop it sticking to the table, Step one, decide what the hell you want to make. Looks bloody awful. Doesn't that look fucking weird? Doesn't that look bloody awful? Well, I think personally that looks shite. What are you going to do? Let's try squishing that a bit. Oh dear, now I've right fucked it up now. Do you know what? Once again, we're going to start again. Oh, this milliput's starting to go fucking hard. Okay, so that's the god-awful piece of crap I've made. Terribly sorry, but that's not the idea. This video is not to show off my phenomenal crafting skills. It's to show you how to cast pewter. So, on to the next step once this is dried. Okay, so the part is now dried, gone hard, whatever you're using, clay, whatever, it doesn't matter. Now, when I made my maker coins, which were like that, for Maker Central, the blank for this was actually made of cardboard. Layers of cardboard, PVA glued together. Now, the silicone I'm using doesn't stick to cardboard. So you can literally make it out of anything. You could carve it out of a piece of cheese if you really wanted to, and it would work. So go nuts is what I'm saying. Anyway, what I am using, simply because it was about the first one I found on eBay, is this stuff, DWR Plastics high temperature molding rubber, which comes in two parts like that. I'm sure you've all seen things like this before. He makes half of that and half of that, and he makes that. It's pretty straightforward, so let's have a little play, shall we? Okay, so piece, bit of cardy-birdy. Now what we want is we want a cone or something to go on the back of the ear to create a pouring funnel. So let's draw a little picture, shall we? So have a pen, right. So if you imagine this is our piece that we want to fill with metal. So what I'm going to create is a cone like this here of cardboard on the top. Then we should put it in a mould, fill it up with rubber up to here. Then when you are done, you can cut this open, I'll show you that, and you're left with this hole. This will all be a hole. And when you pour your metal in, the metal will flow into here and fill this. Now the key bit is, make sure this is thinner than your pouring spout. Because what happens is the metal will start to cool and it'll shrink. Now, what you want is this waste bit to be the last thing to cool. Because if you don't, as your piece cools, it will shrink and you'll find that the metal will create holes. It'll collapse in on itself. So rather than doing that, if you use this big cone, this will still be molten in the middle of here when this starts to cool and shrink. And it will actually suck this molten metal down into your piece, keeping it full all the way across your mould. Meaning that this piece will have a big divot in it or a hole in the middle or something, but you're going to cut that off and throw it away anyway, so it doesn't matter. So you make sure this is fatter than your fattest part of the piece you want. Comprende? If you don't, tough. Hello, Mog here. Now today we're going to show you how to grow your own tools at home. Now here we are, look, now we got a lovely little screwdriver bulb here. Now obviously this is the traditional British variation. Now, you know, Chinese screwdriver farming is very intensive nowadays. It's almost destroyed the cottage industry in this country. It's very sad. But we'll show you today how to grow your own screwdrivers. You just watch. We'll have a dig here and we'll bury them in the ground and I'll show you how to do it all. You just stay with Mog now. There we are. So what you want to do is just finger yourself a little hole just in the ground like that. Put your screwdriver bulb in and just bury him just up to the shank there. Just up to the bottom of the shank there. Cover them over like that. Now, what you want to do is don't overwater them because they can rust. Now, what we do is over here, you'll see, here's one that I planted about a fortnight ago, and this one here is just about ready to pick. So let's see what we've got on her. Here we go, look, there we are, look. Isn't that lovely? Should we see if these are ripe yet? Oh, there we are. Yes, that one's ripe. So these are ready to pick. As you can see, you've got all sorts in here. We've got some Phillips variety and a few flathead. We've even got a T-handle there. That's a rare flower there. We're very good there. That's lovely. If you join me next week, we'll be learning how to grow anvils out of acorns. Thanks very much. So, what we're going to do, take a piece of cardboard, roll it into a cone, zoom it like that. Now fiddle about with it, get it where you want it, so it's quite nice and fat, and then you can attach it onto here. Do yourself a favour, leave a bit of gap on either side of your piece so that your rubber mould is firm. So if I find an old mould, where's an old mould? Here we go. This is the mould for my coin. So if you have a look here, there's the coin that sits in there. Now this is probably excessively big, this one, but it was the first one I ever did. So, but you can see he sits sort of in the middle there, and you'll see when you split it open, there's your coin and there's your filler tube. So if I can hold it tidy. So you pour your metal in here, it fills this up, and this is nice and fat, whereas your coin is only skinny by comparison. So this will start to cool faster, first in the middle of here, and it will pull metal down from the fat bit here to keep the coin full with no holes. Okay? Okay, so we'll make a box for this. Okay, so we've got that all set up now. So, as you can see that all right. So we've got our piece sprued up, and we've got these cross pieces here which allow us to sit it in the mould at the depth we're happy with. Now all I've done is just tweak this with a bit of glue gun glue, built it up till I'm happy with where it's sitting. There's enough underneath it that it's not going to be too close to the bottom of the mould, but I think we'll be okay. So now we want to mix up some silicone and start painting the piece, whop it back on here and then pour the rest into the mould. So let's mix up a bit of silicone, shall we? Tell you what, I'm just going to use whatever's left because there ain't a hell of a lot left in here. Let's just bloody use it up. It's probably going to be way too much, in which case we'll I don't know, we'll do something with it. I mean, this stuff ain't the cheapest, but for what I found, this works very well. There may be better ones that people know about, I don't know. But like I say, for me, this was the first bugger I found, and it worked. So, if it ain't broke, don't bloody fuck about with it. Make sure you mix it really well, because if there's any of this unmixed, it will not cure. No matter how much you wish it and want it and pray for it and chuck coins in fountains and all sorts of things, it ain't going to help. It's not going to cure. So, mix it bloody well. And I say, I like nowadays just to blob a bit on here, get it down in the crevices and that, just to prevent some of the air bubbles. You don't have to be particularly stupid with this, just make sure you've got a covering, because like I say, air bubbles are a bit of a bastard and they will happen if you're not careful. They might happen even if you are careful, frankly, but at least you've tried. This is new, I haven't done this before. I'm going to try and pour a bit in the bottom first. They say do it from great height so that it takes some of the air bubbles out. I think you're bloody hopeful, frankly, but we'll give it a go. Now, I'm just going to whop him in here, press him down in, till I'm happy with where he is. Get that red glue off there so the fucker sits flat. Get back on your marks, you. Right. Hold him tidy, and let's fill this bloody mould right up. I'd say that's about full. So, I think we just put a little bit of weight on there, I think just to keep the bugger where he is. I would do if I had a bit of weight. Must be somebody over here, come on. Where we are. Right, I'll take an old battery off something. I just whop that on the top of there just to keep the bugger, because he's trying to float. Right. Now you sod off and come back in 2 hours. Morning. Day 2, and I have a confession. I fucked up. Unfortunately, I didn't mix the bloody stuff properly. It's a bit dark in here, which is a bit of a shitter. I mean, it might be alright, it might be alright, I don't know. Have a look, see what you think, hang on. So, I haven't mixed it properly. And what we've got is we've got, don't know if you can see here, these like lines and bits in it. This is the bits that haven't cured. Now, I had a bit of a cut to see what happens here. Yeah, that's not very nice. I cut it here to see how firm it was inside, and it's not very. This side, lovely, nice and firm. This side, oh dear, it's a bit soft and squidgy. We'll cut it open, we'll see what happens. Unfortunately, I don't have any more of this, and I got no money to buy no more. So it's shit or bust time. Let's see what happens. Right, let's see what we got. So obviously I've started taking the cardboard off this, but it literally just pulls off. It doesn't grip very well at all onto the silicone. Comes off lovely, just like that. So I'm going to get rid of that. Now we want a slicer. Now how you cut this is up to you, but you've got to think, you've got to be able to get a solid piece of this out. So do give it a little thought. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down here till I get to the part, and then I'm going to go sideways. Okay, so we're in. He's out. He can come out in one piece. Now, this will serve to prove that you can be an utter moron and still make this work, because the inside of this mould is horrific. I think probably the best thing to do would be to mark on your blank, on your box, where this is sitting, so you know where to put your line. You know, I never said you were going to learn anything here. So if you look at the horrific mess inside there, now believe it or not, I think this will still work. It's not really an issue. As far as they're not mixing it properly, it's pretty good next to the thing. I think we're going to give it a whirl, as they say. I've got some pewter, what I've melted already, and a failed casting. So let's fire the burner. Now, well, don't sound very clever. That's a bit better. Sounds less explodey. Okay, about 5 minutes in now, and you see, well, you can't really, but the pewter is just about to melt. Whenever your pewter hardens, it oxidizes, and you get this crappy oxidized layer on the top, which is no good to anybody. So you need to get rid of that. Now, this is the basicest, simplest sort of metal casting you can do. Nice and low tech. Any old bit of metal will do to pull this off. Now bear in mind, it gets fucking warm this, so I'm just going to turn that down now. Reduce to a light simmer and add your rosemary at this point. Just scrape off all of the crud on the top. You'll see it sits on the top, which is handy. And what I do is I just scrape it off to a corner, and then I got an old teaspoon, and we can just lift out that crappy junk, chuck it on the side. Now don't throw this away, because you will get bits of pewter in it, and every now and then it's worth chucking all your slag back into the pot, melting it out until you can't get that bit of pewter back. Now, we'll leave that to simmer. What I found is that you need to powder the mould. Anything will bloody do. The first time I did it, I used ash out the fire. Now, I use baby powder nowadays. Don't ask me why, but if you don't do it, your casting will come out like a piece of crap. Technical term. So, just get some baby powder. Now, don't get too much. Get it in there, get everything coated, and then knock the excess out, because you don't want chunks of it in there. But do make sure you get everything covered. Then just knock it all out, get rid of it. Healthy. Respirators should be worn at all times. The baby powder probably can't be that harmful. You check it at babies, don't you? So, mould, you need to hold it shut just slightly. Not much. The smallest bit of pressure will do. So I'm just going to use these two crappy clamps for now, just to, well, hold the bloody thing shut, basically. Don't squeeze it too hard, because you'll deform the piece inside. So, pair of pliers, don't pick the pot up, it's fucking hot. I'm going to use this to steady her. And we're just going to pour the bugger in. You can't see a damn thing there, can you? I'll try and do it so you can see it go in. trick is get it in one smooth action. So just pour and stop. You can, if you like, give her a little tap in. Don't do too much, just a couple to try and seat the metal, and we'll see if it comes out or not. Give it a minute to cook, to soften. Don't leave it till it softens because you'll be here a long time. Leave it till it goes hard. Good this, isn't it? Okay, when you think she's had a minute or two, which she has, what I do is just give this a tap. You'll soon tell if it's hard or not. Now, just because it's hard doesn't mean it's cold, so don't bloody touch it. Take your clamps off, carefully part the mould a touch. Don't have your hand under it when you do this, because if it's still molten in the middle, it'll pour out all over your hand. So just part her just like that. Oh. And the only slight problem we got is it left a hole. It left a hole where the one eye is, but I don't actually mind that. There we go, bit of focus. I don't actually mind that. That doesn't look too bad like that, does it? Should we have another pour? So pour one quick smooth thing, give her a little tap in, leave it be, put it back on the warm. Now you can keep that pewter heating for a long time, indefinitely almost. And don't forget, these things are still going to be hot. There's a bit of mould stuck in there, don't worry about that. But actually, that's come out rather nice, I think. Even though it does have a hole in, I don't think that takes away from it actually. Use a bit of water to cool that one down a bit. Not enough like, but a bit. Oh, we've got a bit more pewter left. Should we have another quick one? Oh, it's time for a quick one. Just to piss off wasp, will you? Standing back, standing well back. And do try to keep hold of the pot mog. I might have blobbed a bit in there beforehand, so that might not work at all. But as I say, the beauty of this is pick up, chuck it back in the pot, let that cool. Also, this stuff isn't really hot enough to do any great damage. I mean, it'll do a fair bit of damage to you, but it won't damage your worktop or nothing too much. I ain't gonna leave it too long, because as I say, I think it's a fuck up anyway. Oh, just goes to show. Looks like it's worked alright actually. Oh look, see, he came out alright. I don't know, he's a bit cocked up by his nose. It's a bit cocked up by his nose. I don't like it, put it back in. Melt it back down, do it again. As I say, this is the beauty of this. It just takes seconds. Just chuck it back in the pot and have another go, balls. Don't accept shoddy pours, just do it again. Now obviously as you're going, as these cool, you can cut the sprues off and wang them back in. I mean, that sprue is probably another one of these anyway. Are these cold yet? Yeah. See, I think he's the best one so far, although he's not entirely cold, judging by how warm my fingers are getting. Right, let me clean the slag off this. I'm not going to brush, I'll just got to chuck it to one side. Because I'm lazy and what could possibly go wrong? Pour. Whoop. I need a better pair of pliers to hold that pot, I tell you. They slip right at the most inopportune moments. Now when you're done, you can just turn your burner off and let the pewter go hard in the pan. It ain't going to hurt it. Right, I'll cut the screws off. We'll have a look, see what we got. Right, well there we go. I think that's proved, if nothing else, even if you're a talentless gimp with no tools and no idea and no clue, you can still make this work. Well, there we go. That's what we got. A handful of little scullies. Little Brett friends that cameras cannot focus on. Yes, there we go. There we go. A handful of little Brett friends. Little scullies. And like I say, I think that proves, if nothing else, even if you cock your mixing up, you cock your mould up, cutting up, you cock your pouring up, you can still end up with a half respectable result. Pewter casting is easy. Give it a go. It's quite good. I quite like it. That bit of silicone, pots of silicone I used were about 15 quid, I think. The pewter, you can buy it online, but frankly, modern-ish pewter tankards, people throw them away. Just collect them up, melt them down, it's all good. Older pewter's full of lead, unless you're going to drink out of it or use it to make babies dummies or something, it's probably not going to do any harm. I wouldn't worry about it too much. But there you go. Anyway, so yeah, fuck off then.